Hey guys, what's up? It's TF Knight here. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends series Walgreens exclusive Moon Knight figure. Everybody thank at Sleepless Nerd 22 on Instagram for sending this my way. Thank you so much. If you're watching this, you are a literal godsend because Walgreens canceled my pre-order like a lot of people, and I was very upset. But she was able to work out something with me to send it my way. So if you're watching this, thank you so much. I really appreciate you helping me out. This is a very anticipated figure for me because I really like Moon Knight, and I really like the previous Moon Knight we got from 2017. I believe that was the MCU Vulture Wave. And I'm just going to, talk about the packaging now. There's not much else to say. It's a very cool packaging, as you see here when we take a look at the figure as well as the contents in the box. It's nicely packed in there. I think there's I can't tell what the backdrop is in the back there, but it might be Moon Knight's face, actually. It's really cool. It says Legend Series at the top, and then towards the bottom of the packaging on this side, you'll say Marvel as well as Moon Knight. It's very well done. On the very top, you have the moon symbol as well as some warnings and the age recommendation. On both sides of the packaging, they're not reflective or anything. It's just the same on both sides. It's really cool artwork of Moon Knight that I'm digging a lot. When you look on the back of the packaging, you can see the figure holding an accessory as well as a read-up of Moon Knight. And then we take a look towards the bottom of this side, and we have some warnings and all that. And then when you look at the bottom of the packaging, you see the barcode there, just in case you guys need to find this figure and need the barcode. So let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging finally. So here's the figure out of the packaging. It's a pretty solid figure overall, but it does have its issues. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the accessories that he comes with, then we'll take a closer look at the figure. So as you can see, he comes with a different amount of accessories. Pretty good arrangement. We have some different weapons as well as some alternate parts. And we have this staff here, which is pretty well done. It's kind of molded in this off-white, almost glittery plastic. There's not much other detailing besides what we get in these grooves right here. But it's a pretty nice sculpt. It's a little warped, but I could fix that with some heat. Other than that, there really isn't much else going on here. We have some gripping hands that are meant to hold these. And these are pretty nice. They're not as detailed as the previous hands that came with that previous Moon Knight. But I mean, it's still good to have these. This one's a little bit more of a tighter fit than this one. This one is pretty loose, so they interchange with no problem. We have these big moon boomerangs that you can see right here. Really, only detailing you get is right down the center right here, where this is a little bit of a groove, but it's molded in this off-white plastic similar to the staff, and it's pretty soft. There really isn't much else going on to it. You get 2 of these, and you get 3 of these smaller boomerangs, which can be lost pretty easily. These could fit in between the fingers of the fists. So it's kind of like a Batman thing where he likes to put the batarangs in between his knuckles and all that. That's pretty cool. It's also a soft plastic. It's in this off-white plastic as well. And last but not least, we have the alternate head sculpt right here, which has some pretty similar sculpting with the hood on the head he goes packaged with. So it's pretty much the exact same head, but we have black right there. And it looks really, really awesome. You can also include the cape as an alternate accessory. Just simply pop it off, and then it actually comes off pretty easily, as you can see right there. Just insert the peg into the peg hole, and then we put that back on, and that's actually the alternate head. So I think that looks really good. This can get in the way sometimes, but you can fix that easily. So I really dig the details on this figure. It's using a body mold we've gotten before, which is, I want to say, it's on the Spider-Man 2099 body. But I don't mind the body too much. I do agree it's being reused a little too much. It's almost like the Bucky Cat mold. However, I like the proportions and articulation more on this body. So I have a little bit more of a bias for it. However, I think it could still, go without reuse. I dig the eyes, and I really like this sculpt. This is the same head sculpt that we have here, just different paint, of course. I really like the shading that we have going on here, as you can see. They did a really good job. I really also like the
little logo there. It's painted silver, and it's pretty clean. The only things, I think there's a little bit of shading in the chest, or hopefully there's no dirt in there. My hands are clean, of course. But yeah, it doesn't look too bad. The sculpting on the wrinkles of the hood is really good. There's not much else to talk about with the body because we've seen this body before. You can get these details, of course, with the abs, the chest, the ribs, lots of muscles everywhere. We have this new belt though. I've never seen this before. This is really cool. It's like an off-white, almost. Not, I don't think it's got any paint to it, but it does sort of look metallic. But it's just mostly glossy looking. It's pretty cool though. I like the sculpting. You can see all those crescents right there. One thing I don't like, and I think a lot of people agree that they don't like, is the cape. I don't hate it. I do think there's cool sculpting going on around the neck here, so it fits right underneath, if you can see. But it's just too long. This thing is like a couple centimeters to the ground higher than his feet, which pushes him forward, and I'll show off in a second what he looks like that. So that's a little annoying. You might as well get yourself a cloth goods cape. I do dig the gauntlet here, which is sort of like off-white. It's not completely white, just like this. This is, I believe, the same sculpt as the previous Moon Knight's hands, which I'll show off in a second. But again, we have the holes right there, which they aren't super noticeable, like I said earlier, so that's cool. Oh man, I just really like these hands are actually really well done. I'm trying to focus on here, but it won't. So there's some nice stretching going on, if you can see, with the hands. Some more muscles down in the legs, which we've gotten these before. The cape's covering it, but there's this printing here, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Here's the back. So, this pegs into here. And then we go down to the boots. These cool little... I don't really know what these are, but they're very similar to the gauntlets. And then we've gotten these feet before. Now, what I will say about the cape is that it is pretty well sculpted, and there's a little bit of shading in here on the inside. You can see a little bit of black being shaded throughout. You can definitely see it more here and around here. The light's not really helping, but there is some shading in there. And, it does look pretty nice and flowy. I like the wrinkles. But at the same time, I just wish it was either shorter or they finally stepped it up by giving us soft goods. But what are you going to do? Hasbro likes to cut corners, and then it's up to customizers to come in and fix their problems. So anyway, the articulation is pretty good. It's a little hindered, but actually that's not too bad. So it goes up, it goes down. This likes to come out, and it won't really sit super well. It doesn't take too much effort to put it back in there, though. Side to side, a little bit of a tilt. So that's what the down looks like. So that's really good. Butterfly joints. Which there's actually, if this focuses, there's a little bit of like orange or something right there. It's kind of hard to see. But I can try to fix that later. It's not super noticeable. Butterfly joints. Arms go all the way around. They go in and out. Upper arm swivel. We do get the double jointed elbows. We do have a swivel at the wrist as well as a hinge at the wrist. We have ab crunch. One thing that is kind of worrisome, I'm going to turn me focus on, is the ab articulation in some of these areas. It's really tight here, and it doesn't feel like it should be, but there is a pretty good crunch. The waist is also very tight. That's worrisome, so I'm not going to move that around too much. Legs can go forward, not really back, in and out. Upper thigh swivel. You do get double jointed knees. You see those muscles in there too. The swivel here at the calf, where that boot meets. Bend at the foot here. And then we do have, try to do that, an ankle rocker, so that's cool. So let me try to back out really quick and give you a quick overall look. This is, again, it's a pretty good looking figure, reuse aside. A lot of the new there is nice. The cape is just a little bothersome. But, I mean, they really got the aesthetic down. it's a really great looking figure.
So let's go ahead and compare the previous Moon Knight with the brand new Moon Knight. So the previous one's on the left, of course, and the biggest differences, of course, are the approach. We have a more modern take on the left, whereas the one on the right is the more classic looking. They're also using completely different body molds. I can't tell you if that has any reuse on the previous one. I think it might have, but there's a lot of new there. It could very well be its own sculpt. I could be wrong though. They tend to do reuse some body parts sometimes with Marvel Legends, just sculpt them sort of differently, which I don't think is a big issue, but there is definitely more reuse with the new one, say for maybe the arms, the belt, the head sculpts, of course, and the boots. I think the previous one is a little bit dirty on mine, but I don't think it's coming through too bad. The capes on both of them are, I want to say, the exact same. I think the neck pieces might be different. It seems a little bit more wider for the previous one, whereas the new one seems a little bit more enclosed. That could also be the head sculpt doing that. Again, the head sculpts are different. Well, the sculpts themselves are different, but the hoods are different. They're very similar in molding. I think they might be a similar mold, but sculpt-wise, I think there's definitely more. There's more wrinkles in the new one. The hands are the exact same for both of them when it comes to the fists, but when it comes to the open hands, which I'm sorry, I don't have the previous ones, they do have more consistent sculpting. The open hands that are pretty much the weapon holding hands that comes from the new one have been reused before with no additional details, whereas the previous ones were a very unique sculpt, and they were very much the hands that you see on him now, with those the white and the black and all those details of the moons on there on those open hands. So I think the previous one does that a little bit better, and I think the previous one, because they're different body molds, is a little bit taller, I want to say. The articulation on these guys is also slightly different, where we have butterfly joints on the new one, as well as only a boot swivel at the calf, whereas on the previous one there's an actual ankle swivel, and then there's the rocker and hinge. So here are some size comparisons with other Marvel Legends figures. On the left we have Bullseye, and on the right we have the new Daredevil, and then on the left here we have the new Punisher, and then on the right we have the new Spider-Man, and then on the left we have the previous Silver Surfer, and then we have the new Old Man Hawkeye, and then we have Stan Lee and Deadpool. So to end this review, I'm going to show you what he looks like with some images of other Marvel Legends figures and his accessories. So this is a pretty solid figure overall, but it does have its issues. I'm not a big fan of the cape. I would just prefer a soft goods cape. Granted, I think that the cape that he comes with is sculpted pretty nicely and has a little bit of shading, so that gives it some bonus points, but also it's too long. It likes to push the figure forward to where it likes to fall over sometimes, and you're just going to have a better time with soft goods. The small boomerangs in between his knuckles don't really fit in there very well. They're very hard to get into, and they'll fall out easily, so posing with them is a nightmare. But other than that, the rest of this figure is pretty solid. I do agree that there's a little too much reuse with this body now, but I also still really like the body, and I think it's appropriately used here, and there's some new additional parts that make it unique enough, I think. Everything else about the figure is awesome. The articulation, the accessories, and just the way it looks and the aesthetic is just very well done. This is only a Walgreens release, so it's an exclusive, and hopefully you'll find some at your local Walgreens. If not, you can maybe check their website, and hopefully they'll have some in stock. But yeah, just good luck trying to find this. I haven't yet to find this in actual stores. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends, and I will see you guys later.